So now we are going to look at malware, having finished viruses. Malware is a malicious software, and cyber criminals develop malware that negatively impacts system security, steals data, and damages the host computer, software, and information. This will affect everything. Types of malware: we have the spyware. Spyware is often used by people wishing to test their loved ones' computer activities. Hackers can use spyware in targeted attacks to record victims' keystrokes and access password or intellectual property. Adware and spyware are typically the simplest to uninstall because they are not nearly as nasty as the malware programs. With spyware, this is sometimes people who are in a relationship, someone can put this and keeps on spying whatever you're doing. That is a spyware. We have adware. It is a type of software to view advertisements on your computer, forward search requests to websites for ads, and collect marketing data on your computer. For example, adware normally gathers information about the type of websites you visit to display custom ads. Then we have computer viruses. Remember, we are looking at malware. A computer virus is mainly characterized by malicious software that cyber criminals replicate. Typically, it targets and affects existing files on the target system for performing malicious activities on the targeted system. Viruses should run to target every file the program can run. We have worm, or a worm. The successful worm makes its capacity to propagate without end-user influence so devastating. In comparison, viruses need an end-user to begin it, at least before attempting to affect other innocent files and users. But worm use the other data work files and software. For them, they don't need anyone to begin them. They will just affect. Types of network attacks. The first type of network attack is password-based attack. Password-based attack here, the password-based access control is the common denominator of most network and operating system security policies. So you can therefore determine who you are, that is, your username and your password, your computer and your network access rights. Yeah. Then we have man-in-the-middle attack. As its name suggests, when someone in the center is constantly tracking, capturing, and monitoring your contact, someone between you and the person with whom you interact, the attacker can, for instance, restart the data exchange. Now, for example, if I'm using man-in-the-middle attack, if someone has been tracking you, like we talked of the spyware, a person has been using the spyware to connect to your friend. Maybe your boyfriend wants to know who you talk to mostly. So the person can now send a message to the other person, and then you get the message. Once you get that message, then the other person is tempted to do what? To respond. That is man-in-the-middle attack. The person doesn't know that actually they are not responding to the person they are supposed to be responding to, but they just respond because they feel the message is coming from the right source. So computers cannot determine how they share information on a low level of the network layer while computers are communicating. Man-in-the-middle attacks are just like those who take up your identity to read your text. I've just explained that. The other person might assume you are because the intruder may deliberately respond to those you sustain the exchange and obtain more information. Yeah. Closing attack. A closing attack involves someone who attempts to physically enter the elements, data, or structures of a network. To find out more about a closing attack, consists of ordinary persons entering near physical premise to networks, systems, or facilities to alter or collect information or to reject access. Near physical premise of is achieved by sudden network entry, open access, or both. Someone comes from outside and comes in to check actually what really happens on your network. Identity spoofing. The IP address of a device is used to classify a legitimate business by most networks and operating systems. So an intruder can also create IP packets from valid addresses in the corporate internet using specific programs. So the hacker may alter or remove or erase your data after accessing the network using a valid IP address. That is identity spoofing. We have compromised key attack. It is a secret code or a number required for the processing of secure information. So while it is possible to obtain a key for an attacker to be a complicated and resource-intensive process, after an attacker gets a password, it is considered a corrupted key. So an attacker uses the affected key to gain access to secure communication without the attacker being detected by the sender or the recipient. Then we have application layer attack. An application layer attack here targets database servers, triggering a failure on server's operating system or application deliberately. It helps the intruder to bypass standards access controls, and this situation is used by the intruder who gets control of your application, device, or network and can do any of the following: 1. Read your data or add an operating system, delete all, change them, introduce a virus system to copy viruses in your network using your computer and software applications, introduce a sniffer to evaluate and collect information that can crash or corrupt the network and systems in the end. We have the passive attack. This is an encrypted traffic and scans for code or confidential information for other attack platforms or forms. We have active attack. This one, it is a crack into secure system in an aggressive attack. It can take place through stealth, swarm viruses, Trojan horse, among others. Closing attack. It means someone who attempted to enter the device. I've already explained this. Then you have the DOS. It renders legitimate users unable to use network, servers, or other resources in one of the three groups. 1. Bandwidth frauding, vulnerability attack, and of course connecting frauding. Many TPCs connections of the target host are formed half open or completely open with these fake connections, so the host can be so immersed that it can no longer accept valid connections. When you were attacked long time, packet sniffer. This is a passive receiver that records a copy of each flying packet in a packet sniffer. By every passive receiver near the wireless transmitter, it can get a copy of each transmitted packet. Such packets can contain some sensitive information such as social security numbers, passwords, personal messages, and business secrets. So cryptography includes some of the best defenses from packet snifing. Then we have malware, which is specifically intended for interrupting, damaging, or obtaining licensed computer system access. Some of the malware today replicates itself. Once the host becomes infected, it is looking for connections to other hosts via the internet from that host and seeks entry in every more host from the newly infected host. Imagine. Insider attack. An insider attack involves someone from inside of the company or the system. This is the person who is working within the system, such as an insecure worker who may be malicious or not malicious by targeting the network for inside attacks. Intentional malicious inside eavesdrop, steal data, or erases it, fraudulently uses it, or denies access to other users who have been licensed. So there are no